Hey, I want to welcome you all to a new episode of Charlie Cat Presents. This is Charlie Cat, by the way. He doesn't often get on camera, but he decided to grace us all with his presence here today. Usually it's his little girl Juno, but that's Charlie Cat, CEO of Charlie Cat Productions, and welcome to an all-new episode of Charlie Cat Presents. Well, I'm out in my basement studio today and up in the living room, here by myself today. My son David is over in Freeland, Michigan today at the Trump rally there, and hopefully he's getting some good video for the channel that I can bring to you hopefully tomorrow. But I don't want to talk about politics. I want to talk to you about some pieces that are in my collection that are advertising pieces. I have a lot of vintage advertising in my collection, and in my estimation, nothing shows the little details of life in other times like advertisements do. And I have a really nice collection of magazine ads that date from between 1920 through 1929 that I'm going to show you. Some of them here today, 10 of them. I have many that go back further for another episode someday. But let's take a look together. I think you'll find them as fascinating as I do. Now, this first ad is from April 1920, and it appeared in a popular pulp magazine of that time. And here's a state-of-the-art gold medal electric washing machine. On a 4-week free trial, you could have it, and only $99.50 to purchase. Now that sounds like an amazing deal today, and it would be, but I put the price in an inflation calculator, and that $99.50 today would be $1,289.03. So it was a lot of money back then too. And depending on how much you could afford to put down, you could have it for as low as $4 per month. And again, that with the adjustment, that $4 would now be $51.82. So while it sounds like a nice deal, it was comparable to kind of an expensive unit would be today. Now notice the wringer for, well, wringing the water out of your clothes. They didn't spin them out, they run them out. Before this automated one, you'd actually have to hand wring them out. But this one was electric and it rang them out. You had to feed them into it, but it rang them out. And if you'll excuse the crudeness, there used to be a saying when a lady would get upset about something, I would hear it said, don't get your tits in a wringer. See, back in 1921, that was a real danger, and I guess it had happened on more than a few occasions. But according to the ad, though, through a special purchase from Strauss and Schramm of Chicago, 5,000 of these 1921 models were for sale at that very special price, $99.50. It's really hard to imagine our screwed up world today, but not that long ago, many manufacturers used great figures of American history to sell their products. And this ad that I'm showing you now is from 1910. It's a German-American publication for the F. Meyer Boot and Shoe Company. And who better at the time to promote that product than the very First Lady of our nation, Martha Washington. I cannot tell you much about the product because I don't read German. The shoe pictured was undoubtedly quite stylish, fashionable for that day. But now, well, even a woman in her 90s would probably not wear them. Now take a look at the original laptop word processor. This ad appeared in the December 1921 issue of National Geographic magazine. It was for Remington, who along with Smith Corona was a respected name in typewriters, the original word processor of the day. Now, according to the ad, a famous author and traveler was excited by the fact that it carries its table on its back. Now, what does that mean? The text of the ad explains the prominent baseboard of this machine makes it wonderfully convenient to use anywhere and under all conditions, at home or afield. The ad goes on to say you can operate it equally as well before your cozy fireplace or on your laptop, or excuse me, on your lap while seated on a log in the woods around a campfire perhaps. Now this ad is from January 1924, and it is again from the National Geographic magazine. During the current push in America to take away our constitutional right to bear arms, I doubt if they would be so willing to carry an ad like this. But Colt has always been a respected name since its inception. Let's not also forget that it had a major role in the settling of the American West. So the ad is for Colt's patent firearm. And according to the ad and its reputation, it was safe to handle, quick in action, and accurate in fire. I don't know if you can see her right now, but here's Charlie's little girl, Juno. She often makes appearances on videos. Okay. The ad also has a small image of a Colt positive lock, the steel bar of safety, which it is claimed made it impossible to accidentally discharge the weapon. And this feature that at the time only Colt firearms had. And notice the secure and happy family shown on the barrel of the gun, graphically and a truly fascinating ad to be. Now, many of the ads that I'm showing you will actually be from the National Geographic magazine. This classic ad from 1921, and I'm sorry I have to use my notes, but my memory's not what it used to be, and probably never will be again. But anyways, this classic ad is from 1921, and the type of refrigerator used in most homes before electric units really took off is displayed here. This is a Steger original siphon unit, quite likely made of oak. And I refinished one a few years back, well, quite a few years back now, back in the 1990s, and it had been painted green. At one time in this country, the world was fascinated by green, and everything got painted this like lime colored green. And it's hard to get off from oak because oak has that grain in it that it gets right down into. But anyways, when I got all of that paint off, it was made of like a tiger oak, I think it's called, and it was absolutely gorgeous. Now this kept food cool by putting a block of ice in the compartment on the lower right in this model. How long that block lasted depended on how hot the weather was, of course. And when it was time to replenish the ice, that was no problem. The ice seller took their horse-drawn delivery wagon from home to home, and to help keep it from melting while it was in the delivery wagon, the blocks were packed in with straw. Now my dad and mom, who were only 11 years old when this ad was published, Frank Morrison and Lorraine Cunningham Morrison, God bless them, love them, miss them more every day, but they told me that it was a great treat on hot days to follow that delivery wagon around. See, the blocks of ice would have to be cut and shaved to correct size for the various units. The delivery man let the kids have the chips and shavings for a cool treat. You know, it kind of makes me wonder if that's where the idea for snow cones and slushies actually came from. It probably did. Seeger was like the gold standard in home refrigeration, and it was, according to the ad, hygienic and economical. Well, for sure, it didn't have to run up the electric bill. It would be economical, I would think. 3 years later, excuse me, in 1924, General Motors, yes, the car and truck people, issued this ad for their electric refrigerator. Now, General Motors manufactured Frigidaire refrigerators in Dayton, Ohio. And while the unit is a behemoth by today's standards, notice how spacious the inside looked, with no need for a space for a block of ice. That space could be used for cooling and freezing your food products. The same location in Dayton, Ohio also manufactured the Delco Light electric plant, the Delco Light electric water system, and the Delco Light electric washing machine. There were some very popular products in the 1920s which are still thriving today, and one of those is Jell-O. And this piece is dated 1923 and is obviously aimed at the elegant in the 1920s society. Some of the ads actually were painted by Maxfield Parrish, a very well-respected artist of that day. Now look at the artfully molded Jell-O with a ray of sunshine passing over it and lovely flowers in the background. 6 pure fruit flavors were in the offering according to the ad. Now the second ad here shows the same year, but it gives a different spin on the product, appealing more to the somewhat average American family at the time. And only 10 cents a package, it would probably be quite a practical dessert for a family who didn't have a lot of money to spend. But today, again, this adjusting for inflation, that 10 cents would be $1.52 per pack. So while 10 cents seems to us today a great price, back then it was still kind of pricey for the average family, I would think. But I love a little letter to the grocery man used in this ad. Now today it would be sexist, of course, because it shows a girl in a typically female role, and God forbid that we should do that. We can't have that, right? But the text reads, "Everybody being out, Bobby and Dorothy have taken possession of their father's office, and Bobby proceeds to do business. You are my stenographer," he says to Dorothy. "Take this dictation." And Dorothy, dutifully at the typewriter, takes this letter. "Mr. Groceryman, send me and Dot 2 packages of strawberry Jell-O." So strawberry must have been one of their more popular flavors at the time. I'm trying to think of it. I still like strawberry Jell-O today. Walk in almost any supermarket today and you'll find it well stocked with Campbell soups. It's been around for a very long time, and of course that's because it is a quality product. It always has been. And their early marketing ideas helped a lot also. This early 1920s ad, as you see, features the famous Campbell kids, who frequently appear even today, all these years later. Now early on, each ad featured a small cut in which Campbell cuties were involved in some kind of pertinent activity. And this one shows one of the pudgy-faced little imps campaigning for her favorite soup, of course, Campbell's. Another cute cut shows one of the Campbell kids in the air on skis against a winter backdrop. And she's saying, "I'm simply full of nerve and punch, for I've had Campbell's for my lunch. It gives me all the strength I need and makes me just a train for speed." Yes, for Campbell soups, the artwork, the Campbell kids, seems to have been the right way to go. And like I said, you can still frequently find them in the ads today, and they've been used as promotion on different products that Campbell's has given out over the years. Now, men's products have, of course, changed with the most current styles. Underwear ads, though the change has been extreme, very extreme. In this June 1925 ad for BVD's men's underwear, there's no doubt what's being sold. I really like the play on words here when it reads, "Next to myself, I like BVD the best." Not meaning next to him, next to his body. He likes BVD best. And it was an interesting play on words. But the product feature was not provocative or sexy, just 2 men in the current style. Now, here's another BVD ad from 1923. Again, classy presentation that aims at comfort and functionality. The image of a group on the back of a train passing a farm field with the BVD billboard in the background is classic. Let's jump ahead 80-some years for a comparison to today's underwear ads. This ad is selling underwear briefs, but using erotic sexual imagery to sell it. The tagline, "A brief affair," is provocative in itself, I think you'll agree. The sensual curves of the perfect human body in the ad gives the potential customer a thought that, well, maybe I'll look that great if I buy these. It appeals to vanity as well as other base instincts, and at least to me does not speak well of the direction our morals have gone as a nation as a whole. And it would take more than a designer pair of underwear to make me look that way. Yeah, indeed. Maybe stomach staples or something. Colgate is another name familiar to modern buyers, though more for toothpaste than for shaving sticks, as are shown in this 1923 advertisement. It must have been a very popular product, as when I used to go out digging for bottles some time ago, I frequently found the remains of these Colgate shaving sticks. I don't know if they were aluminum or what, but they didn't rust. And the artwork is straightforward and shows a streamlined product, easy to pack for trips and just as easy to have on your bathroom sink at home. Here is a 1920 ad for the Colgate's Ribbon Dental Cream. Now the ad shows an elegant lady of the era getting ready to brush her teeth with the knowledge that Colgate is delicious, antiseptic, and cannot roll off the brush. And lastly, this ad is a Colgate toothpaste ad from the 2018. And I really like this one because humor sells. And this one is humorous. And it's also the best medicine, as they say, and we can use a lot of humor today. But again, it's awfully good for selling products. The image here doesn't have a lot to do with the product, except the surprise boyfriend has a really nice smile and nice white teeth. Now, many of us can relate to the situation that this young man is in, which tends to hold our attention longer because we can relate to it. Now, looking at this ad reminded me of when I first met my future father-in-law many, many, many years ago. But I didn't have a happy, surprised look on my face like this young fellow does. No. Much, much different. I had a surprised and terrified look on my face because with no neck, his bulbous head sitting on his shoulders looked like a hemorrhoid with facial features. It sounds cruel, but it's true. However, teeth did figure into that meeting, as at the first meal I was invited to by her family, he repeatedly kept taking his teeth out and scraping them off and putting glue on them and putting them back in his mouth, and then he'd take them out and make stupid faces with the teeth half protruding out of his mouth, thinking that was a way to impress me, or maybe he was thinking it was a way to scare me off, and it almost did. In retrospect, I sure as the hell wish it would have. However, I hope that if you're watching this and you're not married and you have a chance to meet your future father-in-law, that it goes more like this ad did than how my own personal experience went. I hope you enjoyed a look at some of these wonderful old ads from the teens and 20s, as I've enjoyed sharing them with you. I want you to know, and I try to remind you always, that in these times when you don't know what's going to happen the next minute, that you're always welcome here at the Dennis Morrison channel and Charlie Cat Productions. I love you and I appreciate you being here, and if you feel so inclined, please give me a thumbs up. That makes me feel really good. Leave a comment. I love hearing from all of you. And if you haven't, please take this as a personal invitation to you to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell icon so you'll be sure to get notifications of all the new videos that I release. And again, thank you for being here. God bless you all, and see you real soon. Okay, Charlie.